Okay, so today we're going to talk about how we can graph circles. Our parent graph we're going to call x squared plus y squared equals 1. This is a circle with a radius of 1 and the center at 0, 0. This is not a function. It does not pass the vertical line test. So let's go ahead and talk about what the general form looks like for an equation of a circle. Now, I will remind you guys that the inside always lies. So if you look at this, you'll notice that the horizontal movement and the vertical movement is inside parentheses, so they both lie. And it equals r squared, which is going to be our radius squared. Another way we can think of it is what makes the parentheses 0, and that's how we can find our x and y value for the center. We always take the square root of what it equals to figure out what the radius is. So let's take a look at a simple graph here. Notice we have x squared plus y squared equals 36. So we can think about this as our h value being 0 and our k value being 0. And we can rewrite it if we need to help us remember. And we can rewrite 36 as 6 squared. So we know our center will be at 0, 0. And our radius, well, it'll be 6 units. So we put our center at 0, 0. And we need to make a radius of 6 units. So take your time and make them as neat as you possibly can. So let's go ahead and take a look at another problem where we move the center of the circle to a different location. So if we take a look at this, we can see that our center is going to be at positive 5, negative 2, because the inside lies. And the square root of 4, well, that's 2. So our radius is 2 units. So we go to 5, negative 2, and that's where our center will be at. And then we make our radius of 2 units, and we draw our circle. Alright, so let's take a look at another problem here. So notice our center will be at negative 3, positive 2, and the square root of 16 is 4, so we have a radius of 4. So we want to go ahead and locate our center, so we go back 3, and then up 2, put a dot, and then we make a radius of 4, and we draw our circle. Alright, so let's talk about what if we're given information and we have to come up with an equation for the circle. So what if we know that the center is located at negative 3, positive 4, and that we have a radius that will be 5? Well, remember the inside lies. So we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So the opposite of negative 3 would be a positive 3. So x plus 3 squared, then y minus 4 squared equals 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. So now we can write an equation.
Okay, here's your homework. First let me tell you the directions. What's 4 take away 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Take away. What's 6 take away 1?
1.
No, you take away, so you take away 1 out of 6. How much does it equal? What's 10 minus 1?
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6.
6, 7, 8, 9,
10.
Nope. Take away 1. How much is it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And one more. And add 1 more. How many does it equal?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1.
It makes 9. See how you take away? You take away 1 and it equals
1.
Do you get it now?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to talk about another method called completing the square. Now we use this when our circle equations aren't in that nice neat form. So if you look at this, notice it's not in factored form. We've got variables on both sides. So these problems are a little bit more difficult, but with some practice we can all have these things mastered. And we have not seen anything like this before. We've got x squareds in it, we've got y squareds, we've got x to the first, y to the first, and constant values. So we need to break this down into the steps that we need to use. So the first step is going to be that we need to get all the variables to one side, and we want them in descending order. So we'd have x squared plus whatever x. And then we want to leave a little space so we can put a number there later on. And then y squared plus whatever the y value is, leave a little space, and have the coefficients or just the constants on the right hand side. So we're going to keep 55 on the right. So now we have to ask ourselves, what does that constant term need to be to make this a perfect square trinomial for the x squared trinomial and the y squared trinomial? So we take half of the b term for x, half of b, or half of 2 is 1, and then we square it. 1 squared is 1. So that's what we need to add in that first underlined spot there. And whatever we do to one side of an equation, we have to do to the other. So we need to add 1 to the right-hand side as well. And we would do the same thing for the negative 10 by the y. Well, half of negative 10 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. So we need to add 25 to both sides as well. Okay, so hopefully some of you are seeing what's going on here. So now we need to factor everything we see here. So we ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply together to give us 1 but add up to be 2? Well, it's 1 and 1. So that first part factors x plus 1 times x plus 1. Same thing with the y. What two numbers multiply here is 25 and add up to be negative 10, negative 5. Since we have the same thing twice, we can rewrite it as x plus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared. Now we can find the center. The center is at negative 1, positive 5. And we know that radius is going to be the square root of the number on the right. The square root of 81 is 9. We will practice this a lot in class.